Certification Program. It's a free program designed to help entrepreneurs bring their project to life. So Jordan, why don't we go ahead and get started?
Hey, thanks, Brittany, so much. And thank you, everyone, for joining today's webinar. We're super excited to have you. But yeah, I just want to tell you guys a little bit more about the Aero Certification Program. And for those of you who don't know, Aero Electronics is a technology solutions company. A lot of you might know us as electronic component distribution, but we are so much more than that. Through the Aero Certification Program, we're here to help entrepreneurs at any stage of their product's lifecycle. So that's from ideation through production. We love to work as the middleman to help bring your project to life and make it a super success. So yeah, like I said before, through the certification program, we're able to help at any stage that you guys are in. What's nice about the Aero Certification Program is that it is at no cost to you. So it is a free service. I know that might sound a little iffy to some people, but what's really great about that is that you not only get to keep 100% of your IP, your idea will be super safe with us, and you'll be able to work with our engineers and getting all your questions answered. We understand not all of you might not be tech savvy, so that's where we're here to help you guys out. So to get started with the Aero Certification Program is super easy. The first step is just submitting your project online at aero.com/Indiegogo. It's a simple application form. And once you submit that, they will all come back to us and we'll set you up with an Aero's representative through the certification program, like myself, to talk to you a little bit more about your project. Specifically, what are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? Anything that you guys have in mind, we're here to help you out. To find out if you get qualified, we're looking for projects that have technology. So any hardware or software that your project could contain, we're here to help you guys out in that space. And as long as you comply with Indiegogo and Aero's trust and safety requirements and our terms and conditions, and that your project doesn't defy the laws of gravity, you should be set. So if you guys are on this call and you have a time machine, we're probably not the best company to work with, but good luck to you. So once you're connected to our engineers, they're going to help answer your questions. Like I said before, they're going to look over your documentation, such as your bill of materials and your block diagrams. And a way that you guys can be prepared for that is through our Aero Resources on aero.com. We have different tools and design tools to help you get ready for that consultation with our engineering team. And now I know a lot of you guys want to know what the benefits are of the program. So I'm super excited to tell you guys about them. Not only will you have access to the Aero Certification Badge for your Indiegogo page, but you'll also have product discounts. You'll have access to our manufacturing services, supply chain services, and marketing promotion. All of these have been super beneficial to entrepreneurs and startup companies because it helps them get a leg up on starting their campaign in the real world. We see a ton of people using these benefits to just make their projects be above and beyond the person in front of them. And to continue on to the benefits, I'm really excited to introduce you to AT&T, and they are our select mobile connectivity provider. And some of the really cool benefits for qualified entrepreneurs include access to AT&T's IoT cellular data plans. You'll have support in connecting your IoT products. You'll have the resources on how to secure your internet connections end to end. And what's awesome is that AT&T and Aero have a flash funding opportunity. So if you guys have any questions on the things I went over today, I would love to answer them. My team would love to work with you. We have our email at the bottom, indiegogo@aero.com. So feel free to submit your project questions there or submit your idea on our application page. Thank you guys for joining in, and I'm going to pass it back over to Brittany.
All right, thank you so much, Jordan. I'm going to pass it off to Ray Burke and Dennis McCain from AT&T Business. Thank you, everyone, for your patience today. I appreciate it. All right, Ray, go ahead and take it away again from the top.
Well, thank you very much, Jason. Thank you, Brittany. Can everyone hear me okay? I hope this abridged communication plan we put together will work. Today's topic, the future of connected devices. And what impacts we'll see in 2020, what we will see is a fast-paced IoT evolution. Today, we'll share with you a few observations AT&T sees in the IoT industry, right? And what we think will be important factors in 2020 you'll want to consider as you're building out your IoT solutions. AT&T would like to thank Indiegogo and Arrow for the opportunity to connect with this audience of innovators and entrepreneurs. And we thank the audience for taking time from your busy schedules to participate in this webinar. Brief little background about me. My name is Ray Burke. I'm a business development manager for AT&T in the IoT space. And I have been focused in AT&T's emerging technologies business development for the last 20 years. So I've had the opportunity to support business transformation and industrial disruption, starting in the dot-com craze with co-location and web hosting. I had the opportunity to work in the M-Health organization and innovation around M-Health, big data, analytics, and BI. So now I'm in IoT and digital transformation, which is an exciting field and a lot of fun to have an opportunity to work in. If you take a look at this slide, you see here a lot of different areas, a lot of different solutions, and who had the vision to build a machine-to-machine or IoT solution around these types of use cases to solve problems that businesses and consumers had in this space. And that's entrepreneurs like yourself. Right? They determined that leveraging IoT connectivity or mobile connectivity was the best solution for them to bring their product to market. As you can see, part of the decision you make as an entrepreneur is selecting your ecosystem of partners who can help support you as your business evolves and the needs of your customers' requirements evolves. And that's where partners like Arrow and AT&T, we have deep ecosystems to help you build a solution as your solution needs to scale. One of the components whenever you're thinking about communications is always, the technology and the certified devices. That's one of the areas that Arrow and ATT really excel at together in terms of bringing this to the market. Data ingestion is key for a successful IoT solution that you bring to market. You're looking to solve customers' problems around business process improvement, improved safety, or personal life experiences. Arrow and AT&T are looking forward to working with you to help build on these solutions and ensure your success. Let's take a look at some of the pillars of success that you'll consider in 2020 for your IoT solution development. Some of the areas that are critical in your solution development, challenges you'll be facing in 2020, I think we're all aware of cybersecurity, right? And it's evolved now from a reactive position to more of a proactive position you need to take in the development of your solution and your offering. If you Google cybersecurity breaches, they're everywhere from government agencies, healthcare, service providers, consumer retailers, right? We look at what happened with the video cam market. You do not want that with Ring doorbells. Again, not taking into account the need for best practice around security can have an impact on your solution that you don't necessarily want to encounter. What I think you'll see more of, one of the areas in 2020 is the popular and growing area of AI-based threat detection, that you'll see some new platforms and new services out there in the market to help support and protect your customers and your business. Another key area is, the wireless network, right? What can we expect with the network evolution from 4G to 5G, right? 5G is a reality. It's here. It's not quite everyone's day-to-day activity yet. But for example, AT&T's already worked with several campuses and universities building out the 5G connectivity to enable the innovative experiences for their staff and students. The consumer 5G market is being rolled out across the United States, and we anticipate in Q2, Q3 will have complete 5G coverage across the country. All right. Some of the buzz and real-life applications about what 5G can mean and can mean to an entrepreneur is the edge, the cloud is coming to the edge, right? So real-life applications with the power of cloud at the edge, augmented reality, virtual reality. They talk about driverless cars, telemedicine, and connected buildings. Where we'll have this fit within your solutions, we can work together to help drive the right technology and the right roadmap for your organization. We do have Dennis McCain, who will be speaking shortly with us about the technology considerations, for 2020, highlighting, devices, networks, modules, things that we think are important. Another area of evolution in the Internet of Things is we've evolved from connecting devices into a connected world. And that's going to continue to accelerate as we see the capabilities that the 5G network will bring to our enterprise customers and to the consumer base. That will be coming over time. There's going to be an increased emphasis on cloud-based services and virtualization. Advances in latency or reduction in latency with the 5G networks will bring about new solutions and applications that we haven't fully developed yet, right? That we're working on with these connected ecosystems. Now, I'd like to just highlight a few of the challenge areas within IoT that you may experience in 2020. Device variability, that's going to have an impact on which technology you select to communicate your data, right? What you have available to you, though, with Arrow is a tremendous technical resource that can help support and pull together the right device technology roadmap to help meet your customers' problems and solve for those customer problems. You will be facing decisions about a fragmented tool base. How are you going to approach your IoT stack? Many tools are in the marketplace and more will be developed, especially focusing in the edge compute area. It's important to select an ecosystem of partners that can help with best-of-breed flexibility for your solution to grow. Data management, you're going to have different solutions to solve different customer problems. Providing meaningful data and being able to report that back to the individuals is critical to your customers and supporting your adoption. All right. A couple of areas around network and connectivity, right? There's going to be decisions you'll need to make about what's the right communication solution for your data ingestion for your customers. And as we want to think about that, there's many communication technologies available here. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Zigbee, cellular, but there's some new emerging networking options such as Thread, which is an alternative for home automation applications, and white space TV technology. So it's becoming a little more complicated for the decisions you can make to bring your solution to market. You have to make bets and investments on where you really think the technology is going to go and emerge. Of course, as AT&T and a carrier, we feel in the long bet is going to be tied around cellular and how cellular evolves with the 5G solutions in the next couple of years. I'll highlight a few new developments that I think you'll need to consider in 2020. Bluetooth, Zigbee, Z-Wave, LoRa, Sigfox, they're all continuing to develop, right? Depending upon your application, the problem you're solving, what's going to be a fit there. Some new areas supporting, personal, right, solutions. You have the 6LoWPAN, which is low power wireless personal area network protocol. that helps define I can't say it now, encapsulation and harder compression mechanisms. Another protocol that's evolving and becoming more relevant is Thread, and that's tied in the home automation market. So that's a new and growing piece depending upon how you want to go to market, what solution you're solving for. In the cellular space, the evolution of the 5G network, right? The 5G network does include the low power wide area standards, so LTE-M and NB-IoT, right? And the other piece that 5G will be bringing is the edge compute power to the network, enabling machine learning and AI based on that compute power, right? There's also a development around cellular networks that are private for the enterprise. So that's going to develop continuously, and we'll see a host of new use cases coming out supporting that enterprise space with this new ability for private networking or virtual networking in the mobile space. You'll also see advancements in video technology. 5G is enabling the AR and VR, high definition video. We have drones that are coming out. So solutions in those areas are up and growing and of high interest to the enterprise. A couple of considerations around, cloud integration. As I mentioned, 5G will be bringing the cloud closer to the network edge. An example of that is if you think about a barcode scanner that can use artificial AI, artificial intelligence to correct barcode scans in real time on the edge device. That's a real life example of a solution that a partner of AT&T's that we're looking to bring into our 5G edge compute ecosystem has brought to market. So there's some powerful technology options that are going to continue to develop in use cases in 2020. We'll also see a disruption in traditional models of data usage, storage, and analysis, right? Newcomers with emerging technology are going to challenge the dominance of the incumbent brands across edge compute, 5G. This is where the partners you select in your ecosystem can help guide you to choose wisely. So you're able to scale and grow your business with the flexibility that you'll need. AT&T is working with established brands and new technology partners to bring this edge compute to market supporting the enterprise space. I don't know how much I really need to say about security and privacy, but we all know and have read about, where we've had lapses in security. It's happened across all different types of organizations and products supporting consumers and supporting the enterprise. So with new product development, allocation of resources is critical. Don't let security be an afterthought. There's guidance you can receive from Arrow and AT&T to support you in this process and also help you manage it to make sure you're leveraging a balance of accessibility, right, with privacy and security. Okay, thinking about 5G's impact on security and privacy, you know what? With the new network options comes an increased complexity in your connected world. Companies and products must move efficiently across multiple clouds, cloud platforms for processing, networking, content delivery. When you start to consider virtualization and automation, managing mobile devices and apps, there's complexity in there that's magnified, providing additional risk that you need to mitigate based on technology and working in an effective manner, right? So these are some of the things that we think are important and that we try to focus on with our customers, all right? When you think about an ecosystem and expertise. When I speak to you here, these are services that are available to you, from AT&T and Arrow and a combined effort. We are partners in this space and work very closely together. But you have your application stack. This is just thinking about some of the building blocks, right, to build your solution. Your connectivity, if it's cellular, you're going to have a SIM. You'll have data plans that require some level of management tools. You want to have an ecosystem. We have an ecosystem of certified devices on the AT&T network. That's more than 4,000 devices. We have more than 64 million devices deployed on our IoT network. This is just IoT related. So we understand scale, we understand large, but we also understand the entrepreneur and are very excited to be part of this program to work together with you. So if you think about some of these components here, data management, software, your guidance from a connectivity for what's the best practice, AT&T and Arrow will work to bring those solutions for you and support them. So, hey, looking at a solution roadmap, there's a couple of thoughts here. These are what you'll be going through. Some of these. Considering discovery is really defining the problem you're looking to solve with your product and bring to market, right? A lab build. This is the phase where your relationship and partnership with Indiegogo, Arrow, and AT&T can help you accelerate the development and the support of the product you're looking to bring to market and solve for. When you're hit the pilot phase, you're hopefully got a solution in place and you're evaluating it with customers to assess their adoption. What information are they interested in? You have an opportunity to reiterate and you need to pivot to build that solution that will work with the customer adoption. And then, hopefully we're getting to that full production where your go-to-market is in place. Kind of summarizing real quick, and I hope you're able to hear me okay. When you're looking at an IoT solution, strongly consider the AT&T Arrow relationship to help advance your time to market. In terms of supporting your supply chain, to your software development, to your solution development, right? AT&T and Arrow can help support that for you. As an ecosystem partner, we have a tremendous breadth of relationships to help support you build an end-to-end solution. With that being said, that finishes the thoughts I have for you. And I'll hand this over to my colleague, Dennis McCain. Dennis?
Thanks, Ray. I'll apologize ahead of time for the audio quality. I'll assume everyone can hear me okay. So I'm Dennis McCain. I'm a principal system architect in AT&T IoT. Oh, you can go to the next slide, right? Thanks.
Okay.
So I want to give you kind of an overview of resources that we have on the AT&T side to help you in your design process that Ray was describing earlier. We have a lot of resources in terms of helping you find certified devices, finding certified modules, and getting certified with AT&T. So as Ray noted earlier, we have over 4,000 certified devices and over 1,700 certified LTE devices. And there's a number of links, useful websites for you to find those devices. One of those is att.com/IoT certified, which gives you a list of all 4,000 certified devices, along with the device type, which can help you find the specific vertical where the devices would normally be used. There's an IoT catalog, which has a more detailed list in terms of specifications for devices that the device suppliers have put in the catalog. So we have almost 250 devices in our IoT device catalog. And we also have a module catalog. So if you're designing with an approved module and you want to find which modules have been certified with AT&T, then that's the link, att.com/modules. And finally, when getting certified, we have a nice web page, Get Network Ready, where you can go and get all the information on how to certify with AT&T. So at a high level, we require PTCRB, FCC, and then we have an AT&T part for certification, which is usually very fast. Okay. Next slide.
Hang on, I'm getting there.
Okay. So one thing to consider, and we have this discussion a lot with partners, is making the decision of buy versus build. We really encourage our partners to start looking at it from a perspective of the volume that they expect to see for the opportunity. So starting out, I mean, if you're looking at a fairly low volume opportunity, starting out in pilots or in a proof of concept, it makes a lot more sense to go with a certified end device. For example, a serial modem that basically takes serial data and transfers that to LTE in the cloud, or something that is kind of an embedded module that basically is still certified as an end device, but it has all of the SIM slot, it has the antenna connector, it has the module, everything is on it, and it's certified as an end device. As you look up the chart, there's the embedded module, and then there's the chipset. So an embedded module for higher volume opportunities. Like I said, you go into the module catalog and find specific modules for particular bands or technology, whether it be LTE, M, NB-IoT, or Cat 1 and above for different use cases. It requires a little more expense, a little more time, but it basically saves you a little bit of money because you're now just using the module itself as opposed to an end device that's been certified. And then chipset-based certifications, those are pretty unusual. They're also fairly expensive and takes a lot more time to go through the process. So I think it's just important to keep that in mind when you're thinking about your design. Typically, our partners start off with something like a serial modem or an embedded module, which is basically certified as in devices, and then they move up the chain from there as they scale. So, and I think we have resources between Arrow and AT&T to help you all along the way in moving and scaling up your company and your design. Okay. So I want to give you a kind of a quick overview of our low power wide area network. So AT&T's deployed both LTE-M and NB-IoT, and we are working global roaming agreements for both. We have 27 certified LTE-M modules, and right now there's 3 certified NB-IoT modules with several more in the pipeline. And it's all 3GPP release 13 and our LTE bands 2, 4, and 12. For AT&T in North America. So a couple of things to keep in mind. We have a lot of partners that are working on low power wide area, mainly from the perspective of a lower cost module and device. There's also advantages in terms of longer battery life and extended coverage. I won't go into a lot of detail here into those specific features, but just keep in mind that LTE-M and NB-IoT modules and networks support these features in terms of longer battery life and extended coverage. There are specific features like power save mode, extended DRX, and CE mode A that help you get the coverage and battery life for these really low power, low cost applications. Another thing to keep in mind are sort of expectations for data throughput and latency. With LTE-M and NB-IoT, you're going to have much lower throughput and much higher latency. So most of the opportunities, use cases we see in IoT, this is perfectly fine. There's no issue with lower throughput and latency. We're talking about applications that may use like a meg of data a month at most, or even a meg of data over a period of a year. And the latency is not really a concern. It's not necessarily a real-time application most of the time for IoT. So some of the things to keep in mind. There's more information on our webpage. Okay, Ray. Ray gave you kind of an overview of 5G. I have just a couple of slides. Essentially, with 5G, we're talking, millimeter wave and sub-6 gigahertz. And the goals of 5G is a high level, really ultra low latency. We're talking less than 20 milliseconds round trip, which is very fast. Ultra reliability, massive connectivity with billions of devices, and really fast speeds, talking, 2-3 gigabits per second. And all of this is being deployed today, and it's been deployed in over like 40 markets, I believe, in the U.S. And these features really enable applications like Ray was describing, where you have augmented reality, virtual reality, autonomous driving, things that were never possible before. 5G is now enabling. Okay. And lastly, I want to kind of leave you with this slide. Kind of gives you a flavor for the different 5G experiences and LTE experiences, so you can kind of level set with your use case and applications for what technologies make the most sense. So there's 5G plus, which is really millimeter wave. There's 5G sub-6, and then 5G evolution, which you see on a lot of phones today. And then LTE, LTM, and NB-IoT. So you could think of LTM and NB-IoT as kind of a subset of LTE. They coexist in our LTE bands. So pretty much everywhere that you have LTE, you also have LTM and NB-IoT available. So it's not a separate sort of network. It's all integrated together with our LTE network. And it's designed specifically to enable those, low cost, low power IoT applications to sort of build the ecosystem around IoT. I would lastly mention the module pricing. So in terms of pricing for modules, LTE and NB-IoT are going to be your lowest cost modules. There are modules out there that are as low as $6. As you move up to 5G modules can be over $200. But again, it's based on scale. So I think a lot of the scale that we're seeing today is all around LTM and NB-IoT. And we're still at the very early stages of that even. So we expect the module pricing in a couple of years to come down below $5 for some really low cost solutions. So that's really my presentation. I will hand it back over to Brittany and let her continue. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dennis and Ray. I've got a couple of questions here that people submitted prior to the webinar to ask you guys. So the first question is, what are the latest successful projects in the field of cellular developments in the Internet of Things?
Okay, I'll take that one. So we see a lot of different use cases coming through AT&T. We work with all the top companies, and I mean, everyone is working on IoT in some way, shape, or form. To answer this question, there are two use cases really that I see kind of emerging as more and more common. One is cold chain logistics. Being able to monitor cold chain, for example, produce coming from Mexico up to a distribution center and ultimately to the grocery stores in the U.S., making sure that produce is kept at a certain temperature and we know the location of it, how long it's been en route. And basically, having all that information is more of a mandate now than it is kind of a nice to have. So that is one use case we're seeing a lot more of. Another one is monitoring assets in a warehouse, being able to find the location of a specific asset on a shelf, for example, inside of a warehouse, which doesn't have GPS, so you can't really use GPS to find the location, and you're trying to get a pretty accurate location within the warehouse, which is really non-trivial. It's really we're finding it's difficult to do that well without building out infrastructure inside the warehouse to find specific assets. But that seems to be another one that's come up more and more.
That's really interesting. Thank you. All right, the next question, similar, is what is the future of IoT devices in smart homes of the future? Have you seen any interesting products or trends recently?
Okay, I'll take that one. So, as we're all aware, really IoT in the home is really based around Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and that's really going to be there going forward. But what we are seeing are specific, LTM, NB-IoT type use cases for home. For example, alarm panels or smoke detectors or water leak detectors. Essentially bypassing the Wi-Fi or connectivity in the home and going straight to the cloud for really the emergency events that you want to be notified about. Even if you lose power, these battery operated LPWA devices can still report, and I think that is something we're seeing more and more. We were talking to some customers or partners that were looking at water control in the home, knowing when there's a leak and being able to act on that leak and turn the water off remotely without having to rely on Wi-Fi in the home, being connected to the particular sensor and actuator that's actually turning the water on and off. So I think we're going to see that more and more, and especially with 5G coming along, you'll see more and more displacement of traditional sort of Wi-Fi technologies with cellular.
Great. All right, next question here. What are the Cat-M coverage expectations in rural areas?
Okay, I think I'll take that one. Cat-M coverage expectations are growing and expanding in the rural areas, and the AT&T strategy we put in place to support that is tied in with the federal government's FirstNet project. That project, if you're not familiar, is they're requiring by the feds to build out a network to support first responders across the country. Currently, that build out is at 75 or 80%. We're 4 years into the build out right now. And the reason we're able to use this to expand coverage for the Cat-M perspective is as we're touching or building new towers to support FirstNet, we're also adding the components for 5G and for 4G, supporting the LTE-M and the NB-IoT protocols as well, right? The FirstNet build-out is a requirement for 99% geographic coverage. And the network expansion is controlled by the states for where they want the network built out within their state. So that's why we can say it's growing and expanding and will continue to grow in the next few years. Okay?
Yeah, thank you. All right, next question here, a little bit more specific. What are the complications, if any, of submitting for PTCRB and AT&T network testing when our device includes Wi-Fi?
So I'll take that question. So for PTCRB testing, we require really 3 tests. One of them is radiated spurious emissions. The second test is sometimes called OTA or over the air. It's TRP-TIS RF. So looking at the radiated power and looking at the isotropic sensitivity of the antennas, and then the other one is SIM connectivity. The most difficult test that everyone has problems with is typically the TRP-TIS, and we have those guidelines requirements published on our Get Network Ready page. You can pull that up and see. You can do your own pre-test before you even go to PTCRB to make sure you meet those requirements. But typically, Wi-Fi doesn't really impact that. It's really the antenna design, power supply design, sort of enclosure design, et cetera, around the cellular antenna and connectivity to the antenna internally. So typically there's, usually it's maybe an issue if you're missing it by 1 or 2 dB because of power supply noise or other issues that can cause problems. And we can work with you on looking at that and maybe helping improve that design. But that's really the area where most people have issues, and it's really the 700 megahertz band or band 12. But again, I mean, it's something that we can work with you on.
Okay, thank you. All right, another question here. Can you help set expectations for monthly data costs for small payload plans, so maybe 50 KB per month, between 4G and Cat-M?
Okay, well, why don't I take that one? So there's a number of variables that go into the financial model that we use to price out data plans. There's prepaid options that can be based on an amount of data over a number of years, or monthly options, and the volume that impacts how we're able to build out that monetization piece for the data costs with small payloads. And that's where the AT&T Arrow partnership comes into play, because we have Arrow working with you in your product development, right, and design and certification, and they can also continue the relationship to provide the connectivity. So we would need a few more specific details to be able to really, address the question. And whoever has asked the question, if they want to reach back out, me or Jordan, we can help pull together the information to be able to answer the question in greater detail.
Perfect. All right, last question. This is a little bit more broad. What do you need to be successful in the IoT space? For an entrepreneur that's just starting out, what advice do you guys have?
I'll take that one, Ray. So I think there's a lot of interesting IoT, solutions out there. But I think my perspective is finding a problem to solve and addressing a specific customer problem is really, I think, the key. We have a lot of even large partners that come into our IoT Foundry, and they're interested in doing IoT. They have some ideas around it, but they're trying to sell it internally on their side, and it's not really, it doesn't end up solving a particular problem. I mean, asset tracking is interesting, but if it actually saves you money, the ROI by being able to do sort of fleet or trailer general asset tracking, then that's where you actually can address it with an IoT solution, and it makes sense. There's a lot of solutions out there that, in what I've seen, don't really solve a particular problem, so it's really hard to scale and to grow. But the ones out there that solve problems, I mentioned cold chain logistics. That is a real problem. Being able to monitor even pharmaceuticals or produce or whatever, being able to monitor a cold chain from birth to grave is a problem. And there's a few good solutions out there that are emerging. I think that is a problem to solve. The warehouse solution, trying to find a way to track assets on a particular shelf in a warehouse. Where can I find this pallet in my warehouse? That is a problem that customers have, and we work with them to try to figure out solutions to solve that. So I guess the summary is, if there's a problem out there, I think there's an IoT solution that could be built to solve it.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for all of your great insights, Ray and Dennis. And thank you so much to everyone for attending our Connected Devices webinar today. We're going to be sending out a follow-up email that's going to include a quick form for you to fill out to receive a free SIM card from AT&T Business through the Arrow certification program. So if you're working on an IoT project in the US, just fill out the form that we send out later today to qualify. I'm also really excited to announce the launch of our IoT online pitch competition today. So together with Arrow and AT&T Business, we're giving away $5,000 to the best IoT pitch. So if you live in the US and you have an IoT project you're working on, all you have to do is fill out a quick form to enter. So we'll also be sharing that link in the follow-up email, so be sure to look out for that in your inbox later today. Finally, if you have any questions about this webinar, please reach out to indiegogo@arrow.com. Thanks again, and we look forward to seeing you at the next event. Thanks, everyone.